Daf Lamed He Amud Aleph, line 12. We're continuing with another answer about who's swearing with what in the previous case. Rav Ashi says, with the lender and the borrower, Zenishba v'Zenishba, both are swearing. Zenishba should understand the lender has swear that he doesn't have the collateral anymore. V'Zenishba and the borrower swears, Kama Yashave, how much the collateral is worth. V'Hachi Kamar. The Mishnah is saying as follows. So if they're both swearing, why is the Mishnah asking what's the Mishnah talking about? So the Mishnah is actually debating, Minish bat tehila, who's swearing first? Malvinish bat tehila. Lender swears first that the collateral doesn't have it. Because otherwise, if the borrower swore first how much it was worth, you would see halal b'gadon. The other guy would just pull out the collateral and say, ha, you lied. And therefore we don't want it to happen. They say, the first case of the second part of the Mishnah, so out of four cases, that means the third case, is a question against Rav Huna, who said that you have to swear that it's not in your possession. Why? Because he says, the guy says, you lent me a selah collateral, but the collateral is worth two selahs, therefore you owe me one left. And the other guy says, it was 1 verse 1, patur from swearing. So we say, Rav Huna really agrees that you need to swear that you don't have any reshut. Once the guy has to swear, according to Rav Huna, that he has to swear that he doesn't have it, that was his law. So we said you're patur from swearing how much it was. Why? If he has to swear already because of Rav Huna that you have to swear you don't have it, we could do a gilgul shivua, which means if you're swearing once, we'll throw something else in the package, 2-for-1 deal, and therefore we'll make him swear how much of the collateral is worth. So how come our Mishnah says you don't have to swear? Rav says, Amrita Nishma'ata committed of Kahana. I asked this question in front of Kahana, but Amarlen he told me, Tehem bema amino. The case of the Mishnah is referring to the case where the borrower trusts the lender. He's like, I believe me, he doesn't have it, and therefore I don't care. So maybe the borrower also trusts the lender. How much the collateral is worth. We're referring to the case where he doesn't know how much it was worth. So if that's the case, the lender trusts the borrower regarding the value of the kim the begaveh, because he knows how much the thing was. He doesn't trust him. How come the borrower trusts the lender? The borrower doesn't trust the lender. Where it says the borrower trusts the lender because too much right? He lent the money, he obviously has money. And therefore, he says that the people who are wealthy must be good people. This pasuk says. But the lender applies to the pasuk to the borrower of people are traders, will have nothing, and therefore that's why the guy is poor. So therefore, the borrower trusts the lender does not trust the borrower. There's a guy that deposited earrings for his friend to watch. And after he said, give me my earrings back, he said, I don't know where I put them. Oops. He said, when the guy says, I don't know where it is, it's considered negligence, and therefore Zil Shalem, go pay for it. Zil Lo Shalem, but the guy didn't pay for it. Azar Rahman Rahman went and took his house from him, his payment, mansion. But when the earrings were found, the akur, but the earring became more valuable how much it was before. Like now the gold market is up. Rahman says, give the earrings back to the owner and the mansion back to the owner, and all said and done, don't start checking the value of how much everything was worth. Rabba says, I was saying Rahman, we're talking about it. We're opening up to Parak Mafkid, which is our current Parak. And I told him, Shilem go to the Shiva. Mishnah says that if you pay and you didn't want to swear, you don't have to swear, and you acquire future penalties. So over here, how come he didn't acquire the future value of their earrings and keep it as is? He didn't respond. And understand why he didn't answer me. Why my time? Why was I wrong? Over there by the case of the Mishnah, the guy volunteered to pay. Bedin did not have to get involved. They didn't have to trouble the owner. Over here, the owner had to get involved with Bedin, therefore nothing had to be transferred. The Rahman really hold the Shumma Hadar, when property is seized by Bedin for a loan that it gets returned, that you could cash out. Shani Hatam, we say not a good proof that you can. It's Mahokit, obviously. The Shumma B'ta'ut. So here there was a mistake that they took the mansion because the Kahava Kif Meikra, the earrings weren't really lost. It was there, you just didn't know where it was. And therefore it wasn't a good seizure. Amrin Dradina says, Shuma Hadar, when Bedin is seized when Bedin sees his property to pay off a loan, and then the guy wants to pay it off afterward, he has until 12 months to repay it. So within 12 months, the guy can reclaim his property by paying off the loan. Vamar says, I'm actually from Nahada. And I hold that property can always get returned whenever the guy comes out with the money. You can always return it. Says, do what's good and fair, and therefore you should always return it. Pshita, now obviously, if the property was seized by the creditor, and then that guy, so Reuven lent Shimon money. Shimon couldn't pay it off, so Reuven took a property from Shimon as a seizure, and then he paid off his own creditor with that same property. So now, what if he wants to pay back? Reuven wants to pay back the loan, so he goes to Levi and says, "Hey, the property that you stole from Shimon, the property that you seized from Shimon, I want it back." We tell him, you have the same concept of doing the right thing, and therefore, same way he had to return it, you also have to return the property. Now, what if Zabna, if he bought it, he sold it. Sorry, he sold it. So he grabbed the property from Shimon, he sold it in the real estate. Now what? Or Urta, or he died and therefore left it as an inheritance for his son. The Habeb Matana, or he gave it to someone else as a present, and then the guy wants to buy it back. These guys who bought or got these properties got it from the owner, and therefore they didn't come regarding money, and therefore they wanted to buy the property, not land, and therefore they do not have to return it. Let's say someone they see the property for a woman and she got married. Right, so now the property technically belongs to her husband, kind of. Or they see the property from a woman, then she got married, then she dies. The husband who inherits his wife is considered a buyer, and therefore he doesn't have to return those things if the guy wants to pay it. Nor do we have to give it back to him if he's the one who's paying off the loan. Rabbi says, "Be'usha hetkinu, and usha we made a takana. Ha'isha shemachra b'nechsei melog ba'ala. The woman sells her melog properties, right? A woman, we said, if she brings in properties into the marriage, and then they get divorced or he dies, she takes it out. The children do not get it. So, umeta. But if she dies after she sold it, the husband can remove it. Therefore, we see from here that the husband has like the status of an acquisition of the woman's property. If the case where the debtor, the guy who borrowed the money, gave his creditor the money, gave it up first. Right? So Batim didn't seize it. He gave it to him. He's like, "Oh, I can't pay you. Take my land." It's a machloket whether or not you can cash out and get it back. One says you can return, one says you can't return. One thing says you can't. If you cash out, you don't get returned. That's considered a good sale. He did it on his own free will. He didn't have to get Betin involved. It wasn't seized. But putting it holds that you have to return it. It's not a good sale. But that which he volunteered to keep it off. And he didn't want to go to Bedin. He didn't want to have Bedin handle it, and therefore he said, "Okay, take my property in the meantime until I pay back." And that's why you have to return it. When can if it's assuming the seizure in property, when can the guy start using the property, like eating the fruits? Rabbi says, when the seizure takes place, which is 90 days after document of seizure takes place, which is 90 days after it happens. And says, the witnesses of the document signed, that's when it happens. So much earlier. Rabbi says, when the announcement of the sale happens, and only once the Adin announces that it's happening, that's when you can start eating it. Next Mishnah. Someone rents a cow from his friend. Reuben rents a cow from Shimon. And he lends it to Levi during that time. It died a natural death. The renter has to swear to the owner that it died naturally, and therefore I'm patur. But the borrower, however, has to pay the renter. So Shimon had rented it from Levi. Shimon had rented it from Reuben, lent it to Levi. Shimon swears that it died naturally. Levi, the borrower, has to pay back Reuben directly. Rabbi says, how can the renter do business with his friend's cow? Rather, the value of the cow should go back to his owner. We'll talk what that means. How did the renter acquire the cow that he should get the payment? Sorry, made a mistake. The Mishnah said that where the renter says he swears that it was a mistake and therefore he's patur. but the borrower pays the renter money. So the question of the Gemara is, how can the renter acquire the cow if he's renting it from Reuben? He said, it was a mistake, and therefore I'm patur. And the borrower, who's chayav in mistakes, has to pay the renter. So how does he acquire it? Bishvua, he acquires the shivua. Then the owner tell the renter, Dal ant dal shvuatech, v'ana mishtabin into the b'hadeshoel. So he knows that if he swears, if the renter knows, if the guy who's renting it out knows that if this guy swears, I'm losing it. So what I'll do is he's like, okay, you don't swear, I'll deal with the borrower directly. Amar there, Rabbi says, Misarat socher b'shivua hu he doesn't acquire it the shivua. Mishad mitahu dekane, he acquires it from the death. Ushvua, and the owner of the shivua, kidei lahafiz dato shabal bayit. That only calms the owner down, so you won't charge him with negligence. But he acquires it automatically from the borrower, and therefore he can charge him. Amar Bizera says, at times the owner can pay multiple cows for the renter. What do you mean? So someone rented a cow from the owner for 100 days. Right? I want to borrow Bessie I want to rent Bessie for 100 days. Then the owner borrowed it back from him for the first 90 days. So I borrowed Bessie back from the renter for 90 days. And the renter rented it back from him for another 8 of those 90 days. Right? So we're tripling down. And then the owner borrowed it back from the renter for the first 70 of those 80 days. And it died while he was borrowing it. The owner has to pay the renter 1 cow for every borrowing that he did. Right? So he borrowed it. He's paying for his own cow for every single time he borrowed it. Very, very interesting. Let's see. You only have 1 cow that went back and forth. And therefore, I love Avke. It went and back and forth into different acquisitions. It went from renting to borrowing. It went from borrowing to rental. Therefore, if you want to make him pay 1, the last one. I told him, is the cow here the name of that you could say that? No, it died. And therefore, since it died, it's considered 2 separate claims between the borrowing claim and the renting claim. He says, no, he has 2 cows. He is paying for the borrowing, 1 for renting. Because the borrowing is considered 1, even though he borrowed it multiple times. And the renting also considered 1, even though multiple times. When he rented it, he acquired it for the borrowing. And then the rental, he's paying for the remaining times the rental. And then he has to turn it to the owner. Okay. Yirmiyah says an interesting thing. Right, in general, for a shivua, let's remember this. If you swear falsely to avoid paying money, you bring a korban asham. If you swear falsely, it doesn't accomplish anything, you bring a korban hatat. So, Yirmiyah says, in the case of a renter and borrower, there'll be times where both of them are chayav hatat. Right, for swearing about what happened, swearing falsely about what happened. Sometimes they'll swear falsely, that both of them will be chayav asham. And sometimes the renter will be chayav hatat and the borrower will be chayav an asham. And sometimes the renter will be chayav an asham and the borrower will be chayav hatat. All right, so 4 different scenarios. Let's go through each one. So what's the case? If he's denying the claim, right? So we said we're reviewing. If you're denying money, you're swearing falsely regarding money, that's an asham. If he's just swear falsely, it doesn't accomplish anything, that's a hatat. So, when are they both chayav hatat, which doesn't accomplish anything? The animal died naturally. But Amrun and they said, oh, it was stolen by bandits. So here, the renter, the ben kach ben tachmet is always patur, regardless. Hatat, he's been korban hatat, not an asham, because he was patur regardless. Sure, the borrower, the ben kach ben hatat, is always chayav, regardless of what happens. The hatat, he swore falsely, they didn't release him from monetary obligation, and therefore he's chayav hatat. What's the case that both of them are asham? It was stolen. They said it died while it was working, which would make him patur. They're both trying to deny money. They're both be chayav otherwise. And therefore they're making patur. And therefore, since they're trying to make themselves patur through a swearing, that's a korban asham. So the renter is bringing a hatat and the bar is bringing an asham. How? The guy died naturally. And they said it died because of work. All right, so it didn't die naturally. It died naturally, but they said it died while working. So the renter, the bank with either way, Hayav Hatat is Hayav Hatat because it didn't do anything for him. Shoel, but the borrower, the Hayav Hatat is Hayav if he swore correctly that it died naturally, and therefore become he's trying to make himself patur by swearing that it died because of the work. But Asham, he has to bring Korban Asham because he's trying to make himself patur from money. Last case. So the renter must bring an Asham and the borrower must bring a Hatat. It was stolen. They swore that it died naturally. So the renter, who did was stolen. He's trying to make himself patur that it died naturally. That by swearing it died naturally, but Asham has to bring Korban Asham because he swore falsely to make himself patur for money. Shu'el, the borrower, the bank have hatat, he's always hayav regardless. The hatat is where he's a bring a korban hatat because his swearing didn't accomplish anything. So now the question is beautiful 4 facts about technicalities regarding swearing. What's the hidush? Answer is we're excluding Rabbi Ami's opinion that holds kol shivuah she'adanim mashbinota. Anytime bedin makes you swear, en hayavin aliyah meshum shivuat bitoy. You'll never be hayav hatat, korban hatat, for swearing falsely, a swear that doesn't accomplish anything. Meaning, in general, if you swear falsely that doesn't accomplish anything without making yourself patur for money, for example, you bring a korban hatat. However, Betin made you swear it, and you swore falsely, and you didn't accomplish anything with it, and you didn't make yourself patur from anything, then you don't bring korban hatat. Shneimar pasuk says, "O nefesh ki teshava levates vatim." A person shall swear falsely, he has to bring korban hatat. Ki teshava me'atzma. It sounds like only if you voluntarily swore it, but not if Betin made you do it. And therefore, Hakamash Blan, Rabbi is teaching you that if Betin made you swear it, you still have hatat if you didn't try to accomplish anything with your swearing. Amen ve'amen.